Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. It is now week 15 in the NFL, and we're back with my weekly NFL predictions. If you enjoy the content, make sure you do like, subscribe, and share the video with your friends. I tasked you guys with getting me over 500 subscribers before the end of 2024, and we kind of blew past that. We're well over 600 subscribers now, so I just want to say how much I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for subscribing, and I hope to continue this journey through 2025, and hopefully we can get to 1,000 subscribers next year. So, with that all being said, let's get to my Week 15 picks. So, as always, we start with the previous week recap. Lions beat the Packers. That one could have gone either way, so I'm just unfortunate for my prediction on that one. The Jaguars beat the Titans. That was a little bit closer, or just... that game was a snooze fest. We'll just say that. Just awful game. Dolphins beat the Jets in overtime. Vikings beat the Falcons. Saints beat the Giants. Also just an absolutely terrible game to watch. Eagles beat the Panthers. Closer than I thought. Steelers beat the Browns. Buccaneers beat the Raiders. Seahawks beat the Cardinals, which that was a great win for us. I love that win. Rams beat the Bills. Damn it, Bills. You guys could not help my Seahawks this week. Anyway, it is what it is. Probably one of the best games of the year so far, though. 49ers beat the Bears, Chiefs beat the Chargers, and the Bengals beat the Cowboys, which if that player does not touch that blocked punt, Cowboys probably win that game, and I get that prediction right. Anyway, 8-5 on the week. After week 14, we were 134 and 64, so not too shabby at all. Moving over to the playoff picture for the AFC after week 14. So, the Chiefs are still the 1 seed. They did clinch their division. The Bills have not changed. They have still clinched their division. The 3rd seed, Pittsburgh Steelers, are still the 3rd seed. The Houston Texans are still the 4th seed. It just happens every single week. The Ravens and the Chargers have just continued to swap spots. The 7th seed is still the Denver Broncos. The only teams still alive for the playoff hunt in the AFC are the Indianapolis Colts, the Miami Dolphins, and the Cincinnati Bengals, which, in my opinion, the Bengals are out. So that moves our eliminated teams to the Cleveland Browns, Jacksonville Jaguars, I'm blanking on their name, New York Jets, Tennessee Titans, New England Patriots, and the Las Vegas Raiders. And moving over to the NFC playoff picture after Week 14, the 1 seed is the Detroit Lions right now. They have clinched a playoff spot. Number 2 is the Philadelphia Eagles. They have also clinched a playoff spot. My Seahawks have not moved. They are still the 3rd seed as of right now. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have moved into the 4th seed, passing Atlanta. Atlanta does hold a tiebreaker over them, so if they do tie, Atlanta will be in the playoffs. But right now, Atlanta's kind of floundering while the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are moving up. Number 5 is still the Minnesota Vikings. Number 6 is still the Green Bay Packers. And number 7 is still the Washington Commanders. Team still in the hunt. Pretty much everybody except the Giants. So LA Rams, Atlanta Falcons, Arizona Cardinals, San Francisco 49ers, Dallas Cowboys, New Orleans Saints, Chicago Bears, and the Carolina Panthers. So, yeah, sucks to be a Giants fan right now, huh? And moving over to my weekly NFL power rankings. So, there's been some changes. A little bit of changes. I still got the Packers at number 5. I think the Packers are still one of the best teams. And you might question, Rojan, how come you didn't put the Vikings here? Why do you keep putting disrespect on the Vikings name? I need the Vikings to show me exactly what they want to be. Like, I understand that Sam Darnold threw for 5 touchdowns against the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons have not impressed me so far this season, in my opinion. So I'm not going to move you up in a win to a, in my opinion, below average team. I think the Packers, they hung in there with the Lions last week, and I really like this team. I really like what I'm seeing from this team. I just need them to improve with Jordan Love just a little bit in that passing game, and I think this team will solidify that number 5 spot for me. But losing by 3 to the Lions, I can't really fault you for that one. Number 4, I do have the Bills. I did drop the Bills just a little bit. I think the Bills are still good. I still think they're good, but that was one of the worst defensive performances I've seen from them this season. It reminds me a lot of the Baltimore Ravens game. There was absolutely no reason for you guys to just show up and shit the bed like he did against the Rams. So you guys got to figure it out. Figure it out on defense. You're getting a lot of players back. You got to figure it out. Number 3, the Eagles have moved up for me. Eagles are still good. I'm not sure what to make of this situation with A.J. Brown, but in my opinion, we'll talk about it a little bit more when we get to their game this week. But in my opinion, the Eagles are just tremendous. They do whatever they need to do to win, and A.J. Brown needs to get on that same page. Number 2, we do have the Kansas City Devil Worshippers. Kansas City, man, what can you say about them? They win games. That's, eat shit. Number 1 is still the Detroit Lions. I still love the Lions. They also just find ways to win games. A lot of these great teams just do that. That's all you really need to do. And now we are moving over to Thursday Night Football. We have the LA Rams at the San Francisco 49ers. I am praying the 49ers can just help my Seahawks for once in their franchise and help us get to the playoffs by beating the Rams this week. Please, San Francisco, help us. Moving over to the Rams. So I think their offense is firing on all cylinders. I think Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, and even Kyron Williams to a certain extent. I think this team is playing very, very well. I think if you can get pressure to Stafford and you can get him on the ground, you can get him seeing those ghosts. I think this team it does have some flaws, but right now they look tremendous and they're hitting their stride at the right time. I think their defense needs to step it back up. They have a lot of great defensive players. I know their defense has regressed since just not having those same star players that they've had, but they got to figure it out, especially if they want to be a playoff team. I definitely need Kyra Williams to show up in order for this team to be successful, though. Do I expect Matt Stafford to be able to throw it for 400, 500 yards every single week in order to win games, especially in the playoffs? Absolutely not. So I need the run game to show up for the Rams. As for the Niners, I think their team looked good last week. I really liked what Brock Purdy was able to do last week. I just don't understand what happened to Debo. I have him in fantasy, and granted, I'm well out of playoffs for my fantasy team right now, but I just don't understand what happened to Debo. He used to be really, really good. Well, I think he had like 2 really good years, and since then, he's kind of just regressed tremendously. So I'm not sure what happened to Debo. He might be somebody you look to move off of in this offseason. I am 1,000% convinced this team is cursed. I just think they have a running back curse because Christian McCaffrey's out. What's his name? Mason is out. And now their third string guy, he had I think it was an ankle injury. Don't quote me on that part, but I know he had an injury this last week. What the hell is happening? What did you guys do to this turf? Like, what are you guys doing to the point where you cannot keep a running back healthy on this team? It's terrible. And as much as I want the 49ers to win this game, I got the Rams. The Rams are just hitting their stride right now, just like they did last year, and just like they tend to do. I got the Rams 31, 49ers 27. Our first early window game is the Kansas City Chiefs at the Cleveland Browns. So for the Chiefs, messed up on that one. So mistake-free Mahomes is the key for this team to win. I don't know what else to say about that one. As long as Mahomes isn't throwing the ball to the other team constantly, I think this team's good. And he hasn't really had a turnover recently. So kudos to you, Kansas City weirdos. Their offensive line, their issues continue to happen. I know they signed Humphreys. And a lot of people were like, especially a lot of the talk shows that I watch, they were saying that they were going to do a lot better, especially as soon as the offensive line stopped having issues and as soon as DJ Humphreys got in there. And I said it, the best offensive player for you is not coming off of his couch. It's just not going to happen. He's on an NFL roster already. You got to find those players that work for you. And they thought DJ Humphreys could work. He got injured in his first game. I'm not sure how long he's going to be out, if he's going to be out. So it is what it is. I think their offensive line issues are going to continue to persist, and I just hope this team loses, man. I think their defense is still amazing. Chris Jones, still great. I think their secondary is still good. They kind of let a lot of plays happen in the short to intermediate, but they don't let any big plays happen, and that is really key for this defense. As for the Browns, Jameis needs to play better, man. Genuinely. He just... You get the good and the bad from Jameis Winston every week, and I just need more good. Come on, Jameis. Everybody wants to believe in you. Please help us. But honestly, there's no shot in hell the Browns beat the Chiefs. If the Browns beat the Chiefs, I'm gonna grow out a mustache and I'll have the mustache for one video. I swear to God. I got the Chiefs. I got the Chiefs 24, Browns 20. The only reason I got this score being close is because the Chiefs don't blow anybody out. They've blown out, I think, or won by double digits one time this year. So, yeah, I got the Chiefs for sure. Our next game is the Cincinnati Bengals at the Tennessee Titans. So for the Bengals, I don't think a 9-8 record gets you into the playoffs, unfortunately. I think if they could have beaten the Patriots, won one of the, the Ravens games, if they could have done any of those things, I think this team would still have a shot at this point, but I don't think 9-8 makes the playoffs. And do we start having the conversation about replacing their head coach, Zach Taylor? That might be a conversation we need to start having, because these slow starts, the just awful defense that this team has, there has to be an explanation, and there has to be some changes. There has to be some changes for this team. As for the Titans, blow this team the hell up. This team is awful to watch. I think Will Levis, he came back in that game. I'm not sure if and how injured he is, so it doesn't matter. I do have the Bengals winning this game. I got the Bengals offense getting back on track. Bengals 40, Titans 30. I expect this game to be high scoring because Bengals defense is ass cheeks. Our next game is the Washington Commanders at the New Orleans Saints. So for the Commanders, they're fresh off a bye. I think they just need to continue to have that balanced offense. Their running back's last name is Robinson. If Robinson can go off, I really like this team. Genuinely, I think if the offensive line can just give Jaden Daniels some time, I think this team is very, very frisky, and they're going to be really dangerous come playoff time. I think this team still needs to prove themselves. I was looking at their record, and they have not beaten a single team that is above 500 at this point. So I definitely need to see something from this team. As for the Saints, put Carr on IR and call it. This team is chalked. I know they're 5-8, and they're still technically alive for their playoff spot, but for their division playoff spot, but no, I think this team, it just has way too many injuries to key offensive players. Rashid Shaheed is out, Chris Olave is out, Taysom Hill's out, and now Derek Carr is injured. So all of your key playmakers, besides Alvin Kamara, are injured. This team is over, in my opinion. They should just chalk it up at this point. I got the Commanders winning this game. I got the Commanders 31, Saints 20. I do not expect this game to be close. Our next game is the Baltimore Ravens at the New York Giants. So as for the Ravens, they're fresh off a bye as well, so I expect their defense to have figured some shit out and not play like ass like they have been. I still think they're alive for their division, which kudos to you, still alive for the division. But I don't know, man. Their defense just has to be better. Their defense has to be putting it together. I know they lost a tremendous coordinator to my Seattle Seahawks, Coach McDonald. So yeah, it's hard. It's hard to rebound after losing such a good coordinator, but you got to figure it out on defense for sure. That's for the Giants. Cancun on 3, 1-2-3 Cancun. I do have the Ravens winning this game. I got the Ravens 34, Giants 20. I just don't have anything to say about the Giants. They have stopped trying, so I don't want to talk about them. Our next game is the Dallas Cowboys at the Carolina Panthers. Oof. Oh man, this has potential to be one of the best games of the week. So for the Cowboys, I think their season is officially over. Like I said, 9-8, I do not think makes the playoffs. 9-8 does not make the playoffs for me. And also, I need people to pump the brakes on Rico Dowdle. People have been saying, oh, maybe they have a running back for next year. I think you have the same situation that you did with what's his last name, Tony Pollard. I think Rico Dowdle is a good backup, but I don't think he's a good back, especially if you're going against those Kansas Cities, those Detroits, those Philadelphia Eagles. I just don't think he's capable of being that breakout star that you need him to be week in and week out. He's had 2 good weeks back to back. You can say 3 weeks because I think he had 86 yards against the team they played 3 weeks ago, but I'm not impressed when you are running against shitty defenses like the Bengals. You want me to be impressed that you're running up and down the field on the Bengals? Bengals defense is ass. They've given up more, I think, yards on defense than any other team. Don't quote me on that, but it seems to be that way. So let's pump the brakes on Rico Dowdle, in my opinion. As for the Panthers, I think Bryce is looking so much better. I think you need to get this guy some help, for the love of God. Get him an offensive line. Get him, in my opinion, not an aging star wide receiver. Get him some young talent. Get him a run game that is consistent. I'm not saying Chuba Hubbard is bad or not consistent, but get a more consistent run game, and I think this team can be really good. I really like this Panthers team. They're young. They're frisky. I want to see more. I definitely want to see more. I really wanted to pick the Panthers to win this game, but I don't think the Cowboys are going to lose this one. It was an emotional loss for them last week, and I think Micah will put them over the top this week. I do have the Cowboys 27, Panthers 24. Our next game is the New York Jets at the Jacksonville Jaguars. So talk about a snooze fest for the week, huh? So for the Jets, I think they wasted the best Aaron Rodgers game in the last 2 years last week. So it is what it is. In my opinion, the season's over, and Aaron definitely should retire. He should retire. I don't think you are going to get quality play out of him every single week. He looks so stiff in the pocket. There are certain times where he does get out of the pocket and it's able to complete passes, but it's kind of just to no avail. This team has lost so many games in a row. I just don't trust this team to do anything offensively. I'm done with the Jets for this season. As for the Jaguars, Mac Jones is awful, man. I don't think he is a backup in this league. I just think there are so many things that Mac Jones just does wrong, and I really just hate it for this team, because I feel like Jacksonville Jaguars, they had so much promise, so much hype going into when they got Doug Peterson and made the playoffs that first year, and they have just regressed every single year. So in my opinion, apart from 3 or 4 spots, it's time to fully rebuild this team. It's over. It's genuinely over for this team. I got the Jets winning this one. It's kind of for a lack of a different way to put it, it's the less stinky of 2 pieces of shit. So I got the Jets 28, Jaguars 27. Our next game is the Miami Dolphins at the Houston Texans. Finally, a decent game to talk about. So for the Dolphins, they just can't afford to lose any more games. Like I said, 9-8, I don't think makes playoffs. So maybe 10-7 does, maybe. I think they need to figure out the run game. When you have Devon Achane rushing for 24 yards. 24 yards. That is not a recipe for success. I get you have Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. You're getting Achane involved in the passing game. You need to be able to run the ball. You will be absolutely trash in the playoffs. Come the playoffs if you make it without a run game. Figure it out. I think they have just way too many weapons on this team. So definitely utilize them. And they're kind of just finding ways to get their guys the ball, which I can appreciate. But you got to figure out the damn run game. As for the Texans, fresh off a bye, CJ's got to be better, genuinely. He has regressed in his sophomore year. Sophomore slump, in my opinion. I don't think this is who he's going to be for the rest of his career. But also the offensive line needs to be better. I still have a lot of hype for this team. I think coming off this bye, I hope they were able to figure a lot of shit out. But we will see. I do have the Texans winning this game. I got the Texans just barely beating the Dolphins 27-24. I expect the Dolphins to be out of the playoff hunt after this week. Moving over to our late window game, we do have the Indianapolis Colts at the Denver Broncos. Another good game for the week. So for the Colts, they're also fresh off a bye. I think the recipe for success for this team is for Anthony Richardson to take care of the football and dink and dunk. We don't need those freaking moon balls that he's just launching down the field. Not all the time, every once in a while. But he needs to get better with those pinpoint precision passes and stop turning the damn ball over. But also the recipe, run the damn ball. Run it with Jonathan Taylor. He is by far I think he's the best player on this team. And you need to get him the ball. As for the Broncos, also fresh off a bye, I think their defense is the real deal, man. I really, really like this defense. They just find ways to do it. They find ways to put it together. They get turnovers. They get pressure on the quarterback. And I really like this Broncos team. They're super young, super frisky. I'm hoping that they can do it this year and make the playoffs and, make some noise when they get there. But they need Bo Nix to not have so many mistakes. He's young. He's a rookie, so we'll see. I do have the Broncos winning this week. I got the Broncos 24, Colts 23. If this prediction is correct, that means the Colts are out of the playoff hunt. Moving over to, in my opinion, the game of the week, the Buffalo Bills at the Detroit Lions. So for the Bills, it was an awful defensive performance last week. That was just horrible to watch on defense. They were just letting the Rams get anything and everything that they wanted to. I expect them to get back to the drawing board a little bit and figure out how to fix this defense going forward. I think somebody else needs to run the damn ball. So I understand you want Josh Allen to be the face of this franchise, which I totally understand, and he definitely is the face, but that does not mean he needs to be doing every single thing for this team. He doesn't need to be He is the quarterback, so he's going to be passing the ball. And I'm not saying don't run the ball with him, but run the ball significantly less, because when he is, running the ball as much as he is, passing the ball as much as he is, it's just not a recipe for success going forward. And when you get to the playoffs and you're playing against these playoff teams like the Chiefs are going to be able to figure you out. You're going to be worn out. You're going to be tired, and you're not going to be as successful as you could be. So you have to put your team in place to have success long term. So you need to get other players involved so they have the confidence when you go against those better teams in order to be successful. And I don't think it's that hard. Bills, please figure it out. Get James Cook involved, please. And I think this team needs to stop playing for stats and play for wins, man. That QB sneak that Josh had where he didn't get it and they wasted some time off the clock. What the hell are we doing? Get a fullback in there, get anybody in there, and get them the touchdown. That way you save as much time as possible. I don't understand what the purpose of that was. Get Josh more stats. Does he need more stats? No. I'd rather take a dub over a stat any day of the week. Anyway, moving over to the Lions. Sorry, I went off on a tangent with the Bills. They really pissed me off last week losing to the Rams. So moving over to the Lions. So I think their offense just needs to keep doing its thing. Keep running the ball with your two-headed backfield. Jared Goff just needs to continue not having mistakes, and I think this team's going to be really good. They have a lot of defensive injuries, though, and it's starting to pile up on me, and I'm getting a little bit worried. And they've been flirting with losses the last 2 weeks. I got the Bills in this one. I got the Bills 35, Lions 34. Trust me when I say I would not be surprised if the Lions won this game, especially with the performance we got from the Bills last week. But right now, the Lions are dancing with the devil, and I don't trust them at this current moment. I just need them to prove it to me this week. If they win this week, I will gladly apologize and eat crow. But I got the Bills 35, Lions 34. Moving over to our next game, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Philadelphia Eagles. So for the Steelers, the next 4 weeks for them are hell. I have their schedule pulled up here. So this week they have the Eagles. Next week, the Ravens. Then the Chiefs on Christmas Day, and then the Cincinnati Bengals. Those are 4 absolutely losable games for this team to end up 10-7. That is insane of a schedule down the stretch for them. So Steelers, if you can get through this gauntlet that you got, kudos to you, honestly. It seems like just a defensive performance that you're going to have to put on. I think their defense just needs to continue to apply pressure. I really like this team's defense. I think they have a lot of good pieces on this team, and I just need them to be able to put it together every single week. I think if they can secure their playoff spot, then that Cincinnati Bengals game in week 18, you could rest your starters and be good. I think Najee Harris, if you get him going early, I think this team has prolonged success offensively. You have to get him going, whether it's in the passing game, the running game. You just need to get his body warm. And it's like, and to make a bad analogy, so I'm a gamer. There are certain times where I get on and I grab my controller, my hands are cold, and I'm just playing like shit. So you got to get a couple of games, a couple of reps in, a couple of carries for Najee, and I think this team is going to have so much more success than they are when they get those slow starts like they did last week. As for the Eagles, AJ Brown needs to enjoy his team's wins. I genuinely do not understand why he's upset. You were the leading pass catcher last week. It's not like somebody else is the number one for this team. Devontae Smith, I think he's tremendous. He's not the number one for this team. You are still the number one. You had the most yards last week in the passing game. You had the most catches. Well, you tied the most catches, but you had the most catches last week. So what are we complaining about? I genuinely don't understand. Do you hate winning? Is that the thing, AJ? Because if you do, we can send your ass to freaking Tennessee again if you want, and you can ride a 2-3 win team if you want. I don't understand why he's complaining. Honestly, it's very, very frustrating. And especially for the Eagles fans, man, I'm feeling for you guys this week because you hate to see that. Especially we're week 15. We're 4 weeks away from the playoffs. Like, what are we doing? That was just so disappointing from you, AJ Brown. Honestly, and I agree. The passing game, I do agree though. The passing game is worrisome, but I don't think it's that big a deal. when you keep running the ball, and when Saquon is running for a buck 10, buck 30, buck 50 a week, you're going to be winning games. And isn't that what we're supposed to do in the NFL? Isn't that what good teams do? They win games. They figure out ways to beat teams. They figure out ways to beat teams that they're playing every single week. I don't understand. I don't understand the frustration. Like, oh, you're not getting the ball, like, you're not getting 10 catches, 210 yards every single week. Who cares? Who cares? I don't care about that. I care about winning, in my opinion. Anything that can help me get to the goal of getting a ring on my finger, that is, if I was in the NFL, that is all I give a shit about. So, I'm sorry, Eagles. I don't care that A.J. Brown is pissed off and less involved in the passing game, or the passing game is less of a reason for this team to need to win. I think the run game makes this team really good. I think their defense is really good as well. I think you have all the key pieces for this team to be really good. I just need the passing game to get going a little bit more. I'm not saying feed A.J. Brown or anything like that. I think A.J. Brown is still a tremendous athlete and still a great player, but just make your offense all-rounded. But don't forget about the run game. The run game is the reason this team is 11-2, in my opinion. I got the Steelers in this one. I got the Steelers 23, Eagles 20. This is a little bit of an upset pick, but I don't expect the Steelers to lose all 4 of these games coming up, and this one's really important for them. Our next game is the New England Patriots at the Arizona Cardinals. Talk about a snoozer. So for the Patriots, get no line, get a running back, get everything else except quarterback. Drake May is the only player on this team that I give a shit about. Everything else, just get rid of it, replace it, figure it out, do whatever you need to do. Rebuild this team, 1,000%. So for the Cardinals, I think Kyler, he's just making way too many mistakes. Those back-to-back picks really killed the momentum for this team, because when I was watching this team and I saw that opening pass, that opening drive where he threw that touchdown pass, I was kind of scratching my face and I was saying, shit, this might be a tough one. But then after that, the Seahawks went down the field, kicked a field goal. The Seahawks pick off Kyler Murray, score a touchdown. Seahawks pick off Kyler Murray again, score a touchdown. And after that, it was kind of all she wrote. The Cardinals they were still in the game, but I've said it before, this is a momentum-based team. When they're riding high, I don't think anybody can beat this team. When they're riding low, they're bottom 5 in the league. I swear to God, every single week. And honestly, apart from one great run this last week, I think his carry high was, I want to say it was between 16 and 23 yards. I can't remember which one run it was. But apart from that, James Conner has been mid for like 3.5 weeks. So they need to figure it out. I don't know, man. I'm not sure if James Conner is the right answer for this team, but I think their offensive line is still a little worrisome. But also, I think the Seahawks they kind of figured out the Cardinals this season. I think they figured them out. They knew how to attack that offensive line, and I think they figured them out from what I could see. Unfortunately, it seems like the Cardinals season's over. I hate to call it so early because they are still 6-7, but I just don't see this team making playoffs. They don't own the tiebreaker against the Seahawks in the division anymore, so really unfortunate for the Cardinals. I do expect them to win this game, though. I got the Cardinals 28, Patriots 20. Really, really unfortunate for this team. All right, next game, another good one. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the LA Chargers. So for the Buccaneers, I think their offense is a little too hot and cold at times. They scored I think it was on their first 2 drives, and did not score again for a significant amount of time. This team needs to figure out how to have more hot spurts more often in order for this team to be successful, especially if you want to win your division, Tampa Bay. They got to stop turning the ball over. In terms of just between fumbles and interceptions, this team you got to take care of the football. You need as many possessions as you can in this league, and this team gets in its own way too often. So please, Tampa, figure that shit out. I think their offensive line has to be better. Baker is kind of just getting shit on every single week, and I'm sick and tired of seeing it. I really like this Tampa Bay team. I hope they can figure it out. As for the Chargers, They got to somehow figure out the run game. I know J.K. Dobbins is on IR now, and they have Gus Edwards, so it is what it is. You got to figure it out. It has to be the next man up, and Harbaugh, you have to figure it out. This team has a lot of injuries, but yeah, that's the league, man. That's football. You got to figure it out. It's a next man up mentality, so you got to figure it out. I do think this offensive line is ass. I know you went against the Kansas City Chiefs, and it is what it is, but genuinely, you got to figure it out. I think this offseason is going to be really, really good for the Chargers, and I expect them to be very good next year. I do have the Buccaneers winning this one. I got the Buccaneers 24, Chargers 20. For some reason, I just don't see the Chargers winning this game, but I'm ready to be wrong. Our next game is Sunday Night Football. It is the Green Bay Packers at my Seattle Seahawks. Oh my God. Talk about a gauntlet. The Seahawks also have a gauntlet going into this final 4-week stretch, so we'll see. Starting with the Packers, keep feeding Josh Jacobs. I think if this team has that run game going, this team is very, very good. I will say it just that way. I won't say what I was thinking, but I think this team can be very, very good as long as the run game is continuing to be a factor. This team continues to force turnovers. I talked about it with Tampa Bay a little bit. So as long as they're getting fumbles and interceptions, this team is always in games. And I really, really like this Packers team a lot. And I like this defense a lot. But I'm still waiting for Jordan Love to wow me. He completed 12 of 20 passes last week. I think he was just barely over, I want to say he was barely over 200 yards. Don't quote me on that. Sorry. But I'm waiting for him to wow me. When we were in the playoffs, or when he was in the playoffs last year. Sorry, I'm all over the place. When Jordan Love was in the playoffs last year, he was wowing me every single week. Even in the losses that they were having last year in that final stretch and in the playoff, genuinely, he was wowing me. And I'm just waiting for him to get back to that. I hope he doesn't get back to it this week against my Seahawks, but I'm still waiting for that to come back. As for the Seahawks, continue having mistake-free Geno. If Geno's not turning the ball over, I think this team is very good. I think this team needs to never give up on the run. I'm not sure if Kenneth Walker's back this week. I forgot to check on that, but Zach Charbonnet and McIntosh, I think, are definitely serviceable, and I think they can get it going. Especially Charbonnet is definitely the back that needs the more carries. The more carries you get Zach, the more he's going to start to break out. The more he's going to see those holes, and he's going to just continue churning those legs. And Zach is so hard to get down on the ground, man. So I really like my team when we are running the ball like we did last week. So I'm hoping we can continue that for sure. Our offensive line is starting to get healthy. This team is starting to look sneaky good. I got the Packers in this one, though, guys. I've been saying it for weeks, and the Seahawks continue to prove me wrong, so I'm ready to be proven wrong again. But the Pete Carroll regime taught me that as soon as we start getting full of ourselves and starting riding very high, we get shit on and we get set right back down to the ground. So I'm expecting it within the next few weeks. Our like I said, our next 4 games are on the more difficult side, so we'll see. I got the Packers 27, Seahawks 24. Please, God, I hope I'm wrong about this one. And moving over to our Monday night games, we have a doubleheader. Our first game is the Chicago Bears at the Minnesota Vikings. I wish this game was better, but the Bears, their offensive line, I think is bottom 2 in the league. Caleb Williams is running for his damn life, and I really feel for the kid. Because honestly, it does not look like Caleb's having fun. He reminds me of what Bryce was looking like before he got benched for Andy Dalton. You need Caleb to be having fun playing football again. And I'm not sure how you get back to that with, the constant changes that you guys are having. The firing of your OC, the firing of your head coach. There's just too much turnover for this team. This team is run so poorly. I hate it for this team, this franchise. They got to figure their shit out, man. They got to figure their shit out, especially this offseason. So for the Vikings, I think their offense, when it's complete, when they're getting it to Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson, I think this team looks unstoppable. Seeing Sam Darnold throw for 5 touchdowns, it's good. Congrats. I'm genuinely happy for you, Sam. But I'm still worried. I don't know why. When I'm watching him, I'm just like, yeah, I'm still not convinced. When he threw that 5th touchdown pass, I was like, yeah, I'm still not convinced. And I feel bad because I'm not sure what he can do. Maybe if he has some playoff success, maybe if he can get him to an NFC Championship game, maybe I'll then. But it's sort of like the Brock Purdy situation where a lot of people just didn't believe in him until he was able to do it against more quality opponents. And I'm just waiting for that. I'm waiting for Sam Darnold to be able to just prove it to me. And it's genuinely not fair to the guy, but I need to be able to see it. As for their defense, I think their defense is stout as hell, and I would hate anybody having to go against this defense, but they've kind of regressed in the last few weeks, so I'm expecting them to get it back together this week. I do have the Vikings winning this one. I don't expect this game to be close at all. I got the Vikings 38, Bears 17. And moving over to our second game on Monday Night Football, we do have the Atlanta Falcons at the Las Vegas Raiders. Who the hell picked this game for Monday night? This is just an awful game to watch, and I'll be tuning in, so we'll see. So for the Falcons, can somebody explain to me why Kirk Cousins is still starting? I know their head coach said that the reason he kept him in the game and did not put in Michael Penix was because it was against Kirk Cousins' old team in Minnesota. I'll be honest, I didn't know we were, in the league of the sympathy. Like, if you're playing like shit, your ass is getting benched. I genuinely don't understand, especially when your ass consistently every single week, they have stopped winning because of Kirk Cousins. He throws for a shit ton of yards, don't get me wrong, but he gets sacked a lot. He gets picked off a lot. This team has so much potential, and they're on a losing streak because of him. Get Michael Penix in there, bench Kirk Cousins, and I'm sorry, you got to eat that contract. You guys gave him that contract. Cool. It would have been cool if it worked out, but I don't think Kirk Cousins is the answer anymore. Definitely not. And I think this team has way too much talent, especially on offense, to be this shit. Figure it out. You still have a chance to make your playoff spot. You're on the outside looking in right now, so get your shit together, Atlanta. As for the Raiders, you're still tanking for Shador. Do not forget that. You're still tanking for Shador. Please do not win this game, Raiders. Do not do that to your fans. Do not win this game. Just do not win any more games the rest of the season. Please get Shador on this team, because that is the only way for this team to be successful going forward in the future. This has been a really rant-filled week, huh? I got the Falcons winning this game because I'm praying to God the Raiders don't win. The reason I don't want the Raiders to win is because if you win one more game, I'm pretty sure you will not get Shador Sanders. So don't win. Well, guys, with that being said, that is my Week 15 NFL predictions. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, enjoyed this ride with me. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty of the season. I will have my NCAA playoff college bracket for this football season prediction up eventually before those games start. So please be on the lookout for that as well. I also have some gaming content that I've been working on and will be having out hopefully in the next few weeks. So I really hope you guys have a tremendous day. Thank you guys so much. See ya.